You're watching Central Florida On Demand, only on Bright House Networks.
Salam Namaste and welcome to Sanaa. My name is Cassandra, I'm from South Africa and I'll be teaching you today.
We've all heard of the spice route, which was used for hundreds of years to bring exotic flavors from one part of the world to another. The crux of it all were the African islands in the Indian Ocean, and Disney has created a restaurant, Sanaa, celebrating those flavors. I'm Rona Gindin, and this is On Dining. Disney has managed to meld exotic flavors with familiar ones at Sanaa. So chef, tell us what you're making here.
Today I'm going to be making a shrimp curry dish. It's representative of many of the dishes that we serve in Sanaa restaurant here at Kidani Village.
The chefs got their ideas from African islands like Zanzibar, Mauritius, and Madagascar, and the Seychelles and Comoro Islands. Traders from France, Great Britain, China, and the Middle East traveled here, transporting enchanting items like cardamom, chilies, cinnamon. At Sanaa, these intriguing flavors are gently melded into foods we know. The result is astounding. So chefs, you've told me that your food is like a melting pot. Tell me what you mean by that.
Well, African food, it's a lot like American food in that Africa was colonized by lots of different countries. The British, the Portuguese, there's native African influence there. Ethiopia they have their own cuisine, and it's all kind of blended together. So the African cooking can mean a lot of different things. It's a wide variety of flavors and technique.
Now, usually when I think of the foods of India and Africa, I would think they'd be spicy, but you've said that most of your foods at Sanaa aren't spicy.
There are definitely some fiery dishes, like Ethiopian Berber is a good example. It's very spicy, but then most of our dishes that we make at Sanaa, we have the ability to make them spicy, but we don't make it spicy for everybody because we know that everybody doesn't want really hot food. So we definitely have flavorful. As you can see here, there's a lot of flavors going on into that dish, but there's not a lot of heat spice in there because I don't think that appeals to everybody.
Many of Sanaa's dishes, including breads, are baked in a tandoor oven which is made of clay, and they're served with Indian dips such as a garlic ginger pickle, tamarind chutney, and a yogurt-based cucumber raita. It's easy to sample a lot because most of the menu's dishes come in trios. You choose 3 of 4 breads with 3 of 8 accompaniments. You select 3 of 5 salads, and for some entrees, those that are slow cooked, you opt for 2 of 4 options.
In our restaurant, a good introductory dish would be the chicken curry, or possibly the slow cooked beef short ribs, because it's familiar to people. It's a braised beef short rib, kind of like your mom's pot roast, but with a few Indian spices added in.
What might you eat? Begin with steaming bread such as naan or paratha. For a more substantial appetizer, try scallops in a mustard seed crust with a coconut cream sauce. At lunch, you might start with lamb kefta, sort of lamb meatballs topped with the sauce of tamarind and dried papaya. Like salads, try a trio of roasted beets, chickpeas with cucumber and tomato, and roasted potatoes with corn and spinach. For an entree, you might like a Cornish game hen, which is like chicken. It has a coating of spices plus turnips and cherries. If you want something lighter, consider the day's sustainable fish. Here you see wild Pacific halibut in a light curry broth with vegetables.
Curry kind of got a bad name over the years, especially in the United States, because anything curry was a sauce or a dish that had curry powder added in copious amounts at the end of the cooking process. And it is one flavor, and it, either you like it or you don't. But the word curry to us, it's a cooking process. It has to do with slow cooking, like what I'm doing here. The onions, the tomatoes, the garlic, the spices, everything cooks together. You take a lot of ingredients that by themselves are very strong, garlic and ginger and onions, and even some of the spices and some cilantro. And then when it cooks together by this method, it all blends harmoniously and it ends up being a kind of a mild flavor at the end.
Desserts are special too. The chai cream is especially popular. What do you drink with such a conglomeration of flavors? Wine, wine, and more wine.
Our focus was to make sure that we find wine that are paired up with the flavorful food that we have here. So we have our wines from South Africa, Argentina, California. So everywhere around the world that we have a selection of wine that will go great with our food.
Sanaa, like any Disney restaurant, isn't only about the food. The word Sanaa means artwork in Swahili, and the dining room is designed to resemble a South African market.
So here's where our African journey begins. A lot of what you see in the restaurant are actual pieces from Africa itself. So when Kidani Village opened, and together with the Jumbo House, Disney has the largest collection of African artwork out of Africa. So that's another talking piece in our restaurant as well. Not only is our food excellent, but now we're kind of like a museum, so the largest out of Africa. If you look up at the design of the restaurant, it is an African marketplace. So the acacia trees really bring that to life. And then also a lot of our light fixtures are made to mimic bee nest and also bird nest as well. So if you look at the pillars around the restaurants, those are also to imitate beadwork. So beadwork is a very important aspect in African culture back home. So many years ago when currency was not formed as yet, or there was no type of currency, people would trade a bead or many beads of value to that specific culture in trade for something that they thought was value from another culture. If you're looking at our tables, they were designed from a guy in Kenya who works at Animal Kingdom Park. So it's very custom made for our restaurant. If you look at our tables, they do have the hidden Mickeys. So it's one of the 2 hidden Mickeys found in our restaurant as well. The chairs, these chairs represent the spears, which is used in a lot of Zulu cultures for initiation or when the guys leave the tribe and go out to become men. And then the other chairs represent tribal masks, which the guys would still use when they come back from initiation. They form this whole dance ritual, so they would use that. And the heavier the mask they carry, the more strength they have and more leadership skills they would have in the tribe as well.
As if that's not enough, look outside the 9-foot windows. Sanaa is the only restaurant on Animal Kingdom's Sunset Savannah. Intrigued? I bet. Take a culinary and visual safari at Disney's Sanaa. No silly hat required. I'm Rona Gindin, and this is On Dining.
To learn more about local restaurants from food and travel writer Rona Gindin, go to our website, ronagindin.com. Also, Rona is the author of 2 food and travel books, The Little Black Book of Walt Disney World and Eat Orlando, Great Meals Wherever You Are.